This video is sponsored by PCBWay. As always, I've got all of my PCBs from PCBWay, the sponsor of this video. This time I've ordered quite a few boards since I'm making multiple projects at once. In today's package I've even got a couple of stickers, which is very cool. In this project I will be using custom designed MIPI display connector board with built-in gyroscope. It has angled display connectors which will prevent display ribbons from tearing up. This time I've ordered only 5 pieces, since most likely I will design the improved version. As always, the board quality is at the highest level. The solder mask has a nice blue color, all of the traces are easily visible, and solder pads are pre-silvered, which will make the soldering way easier. Here's the older version for comparison, and as you can see, both boards are pretty similar to each other. This time, however, I've added all of the components for the gyroscope module right at the bottom. There's also a dedicated ribbon connector, which will connect the gyroscope to the Arduino. For the gyroscope, my board uses all of the same components that you can find on those cheap gyroscope boards on AliExpress. I will simply transfer all of the components from one board to another. I've started soldering my board with the gyroscope parts, since those can be easily soldered using hot air station. All of the display connectors will have to be soldered manually. As you can see, I've soldered most of the components, but since I've used too much flux, the board looks really bad. Thankfully, all of this black stuff can be cleaned off with alcohol. After a minute or two, the board now looks way better. There are some traces of the flux here and there, but overall it's good enough for me. For this build, you will also need a complete set of driver board and display panels. I will be using the same display that I've used in my previous Persephone 3 headset. Display panels are pretty small and have a pretty good resolution. You can get a whole set for pretty cheap on AliExpress. Of course, to make this build work, you will need my custom board, which has the display connectors angled at about 15 degrees. I have all of the gyroscope components soldered, but those won't be necessary for this build. For the lighthouse tracking, I will use the Tundra tracker, which has all of the components inside. That's why you don't really need a gyroscope. The lenses are pretty much the same as in my previous build, but I've slightly trimmed them down for a smaller, more nice looking shape. I will start the headset assembly by installing the lenses. Those are pretty easy to assemble, since all you need to do is basically push the lenses into the plastic frames and close up the assembly with lens covers. It doesn't really matter which lens goes first, but you have to remember that the smooth side of the lens has to be pointing towards the eye. After installing the first lens, clean it using microfiber cloth and then install the second lens. And now simply push the plastic frame on top of the lens assembly. It's a pretty tight fit, so it doesn't need any kind of screws or locks. The whole assembly holds really well and there is zero chance for the lenses to fall out. After both lens assemblies are properly assembled, you will be ready to install them inside your headset. This piece right here is the driver board cover. It also acts as a Tundra tracker mount. It goes directly on front of the headset, slightly above the display. The tracker installation is pretty basic. You simply pop the tracker onto the plastic piece and secure it with 2 screws. The whole thing holds really well, so it won't fall out during gameplay. This pretty big piece is the main headset housing. It's basically the main frame piece which connects all of the parts together. First I will install the optical modules. It's very important to install them before installing the displays, since display panels can be easily damaged with any kind of pressure while using screwdriver. Both lens assemblies use total of 8 self-tapping screws to install them in the main plastic frame. With the lenses done, you can proceed to install the display connector board. It goes to the back of the headset on top of this plastic part here. I will use 2 self-tapping screws to fix it in place. With all of that done, it's now time to install the display panels. At this point, make sure that the displays are clean and that you have removed the protective film. The panels simply slide into the gap between the main frame and the optical assembly. When you have it in correct spot, Pull out the display slightly, bend the FFC connector behind the connector board, and then carefully pull it out on the other end with pliers. Make sure to be extra careful since those connectors can be easily damaged and it's impossible to replace them without buying the new display. After connecting both of the connectors, you can connect the whole assembly to your PC and check if everything is working fine. Those weird pieces right here are the light blockers. You don't really need them, since those are only used to block out the outside light and are custom designed for my specific face type. I've decided to add them either way to make the whole build look like a proper VR headset. This is the front cover. It will be used to close up the whole headset and it will connect directly to the Halo strap. The strap itself is modeled after Lenovo Mirage Solo headset. Mirage Solo has a pretty comfortable strap and I've decided that it will work well with the electronics setup. Of course, all of the parts, except the cushions, are fully 3D printed. You start the assembly by putting the straps inside the rear plastic part. This will require slight bending of the strap itself, since the whole assembly is pretty tight and it's impossible to put both straps inside at once. Once you have both straps inside, make sure that the geared parts are perfectly centered. And now you can install the gear knob. You simply push it inside the rear part and it will go in between the teeth. Now you will have to install the rear plastic cover that goes directly on top of the plastic part. Make sure that straps can't move at this point, since those can easily slide out. With all of this done, you can install the knob itself. You simply push it into place. And now install the knob locker. It's a simple piece with self-tapping screw that will prevent the knob from coming out. The headband should already be working, so go ahead and test it out. After assembling the headband, I will now install the MIPI driver board. It goes directly on top of the plastic part and you don't really need any screws for it. It will be held in place with the driver board cover. Make sure you have already installed the Tundra tracker, as it will be impossible to do later on. Just like before, the driver cover is being held together with self-tapping screws. It's a pretty solid connection, since I've used plastic pillars as well. Now let's install the top headband part. This piece is basically a headrest and it will be used to attach the front cushion. It goes directly on top of the plastic pillars on front part of the headband. This piece fits pretty snugly in the headband and you don't really need self-tapping screws, but I've decided to add them either way. And screws go right here. With all of the screws in place, you can now connect the headband to the main headset assembly. But first let's install the cushions as well, since for this I will be using hot glue and I don't want any hot glue on my lenses or my screens. To install the headset, first grab the front cover and put the FFC cable inside it. Make sure to thread it all the way so that it won't push against the headset later on. Both parts connect together using self-tapping screws on both ends of the front cover. Now grab the FFC and connect it to the display connector board. With the FFC connected, I've used even more self-tapping screws to close up whole assembly. The headset is pretty much finished now and you are ready to connect it to your PC. You can find all of the PC connectors directly on top of the headband. Some cables might not properly fit into the slots, since some people make them differently, so you may have to remove some of the rubber material using knife. If you feel like it's not going in, just cut out the excess rubber. My cable seems to go all the way in, but just to make sure, I will cut out some of the rubber. Now the cable should fit pretty much without any issues. As you can see, it easily went inside and properly connected with the USB slot. You may have to do the same thing with the HDMI as well, but fortunately for me, the HDMI goes inside without any cutting. After connecting the headset to your PC, you should now be able to see your Windows desktop wallpaper. It's pretty hard to capture this on camera, but the image quality is pretty nice and it covers quite big part of my vision. At this point, when you start the SteamVR, nothing really happens since there are no HadesVR electronics connected. For this video, I will be using the old HadesVR mainboard, but you can use basic Arduino Pro Micro with HadesVR firmware. After connecting the board, the headset is now being recognized as a real SteamVR headset. So now let's turn on the tracker and see if the tracking is working fine. The tracker LED should turn green and you should now be able to use your headset. The tracking may seem jittery on the camera, but when you wear it on your head, it's perfectly smooth. It's also way more accurate than the PlayStation Move tracking, and you can actually move around your room without any kind of issues. Anyway, that's all for today. Thanks for watching everyone and hope to see you in the next video. And as always, huge thanks to my patrons. See you later and goodbye.